What if one morning you woke up, reached for your phone, and all your social media apps were gone? No Instagram, no TikTok, no Facebook, nothing. Imagine that for a moment. How would you connect with friends? How would you find out what's happening in the world? Would life feel calmer, or would it feel like chaos? Social media has become so deeply woven into our lives that it's hard to imagine a world without it. But what if that were to change? What if social media platforms were banned worldwide? How would this change our lives, our economy, and even our mental health? Let's find out how this one shift could reshape the world as we know it. And trust me, you don't want to miss the surprising benefits of a social media-free world that we'll discuss later. To truly understand the impact of a world without social media, let's first take a step back and think about how deeply it has shaped the way we live. Did you know that over 4.5 billion people, more than half the world's population, use social media today? On average, people spend nearly 2.5 hours per day scrolling, liking, sharing, and commenting. That's more time than many of us spend eating or exercising. Social media is where we catch up with friends, learn about the latest trends, and even consume breaking news. But it's not just about connection and entertainment. Social media is a critical tool for businesses. Small brands rely on platforms like Instagram to reach customers, while influencers and content creators make their entire living from TikTok and YouTube. Governments and organizations also use these platforms to communicate important updates. Yet, with all the convenience and opportunities social media offers, it's worth asking, has it made us more connected or more distracted? Are we more informed, or are we drowning in misinformation? Now, let's imagine that social media platforms were banned worldwide. What would happen in the first few weeks? The immediate impact would be nothing short of chaos. First, communication would take a massive hit. Think about how often we message friends and family through platforms like WhatsApp, Instagram, or Facebook. With these gone, people would have to rely on more traditional methods like phone calls, emails, or even SMS, which, let's be honest, most of us barely use anymore. For many, it would feel like going back to the Stone Age of digital communication. News and information would also suffer. Social media has become the fastest way to learn about current events. In its absence, we'd see delays in the spread of information, and traditional news outlets would struggle to fill the void. For businesses, especially small ones, the loss would be devastating. Many entrepreneurs depend on platforms like Instagram and Facebook for marketing, customer interaction, and sales. Without these tools, they'd face massive revenue losses almost immediately. And let's not forget the millions of influencers, content creators, and social media managers. These jobs would vanish overnight, leaving many people scrambling to find alternative work. In short, a global ban on social media would be like pulling the plug on an entire ecosystem, leaving people and businesses struggling to adapt to a world without instant connectivity. While the immediate aftermath of a social media ban would be chaotic, the long-term impacts might be even more profound. One major area of concern would be the economy. Social media drives entire industries, digital marketing, e-commerce, and influencer culture, to name a few. Without these platforms, billions of dollars in revenue would vanish and countless jobs would disappear. Businesses, both big and small, would need to reinvent their strategies to reach customers. We might see a return to email marketing, print ads, and even door-to-door sales in extreme cases. Psychologically, the effects could go in two directions. On one hand, some people might experience heightened feelings of isolation, especially those who rely on social media for a sense of community. On the other hand, some might find relief from the pressures of constant comparison and the addictive need for likes and validation. Mental health professionals could see a rise in cases of withdrawal, but also improvements in anxiety levels for others. Culturally, the absence of social media would force a shift in how we interact. We'd have to rely more on face-to-face communication or other forms of direct interaction. This could lead to stronger local communities, but might also make the world feel smaller and less connected. Interestingly, a world without social media might not be all doom and gloom. In fact, there could be several surprising benefits. For one, the spread of misinformation would likely decrease. Social media platforms are notorious for enabling the rapid circulation of fake news. Without them, people would have to rely on more credible sources like newspapers and trusted news networks. Another major benefit could be a significant reduction in cyberbullying and online harassment. With no platforms for anonymous trolls to hide behind, many people would experience a greater sense of safety online. This made me remember that one quote from Mike Tyson, which goes like, "Social media made you all way too comfortable with disrespecting people and not getting punched in the face for it." On a personal level, people might rediscover hobbies, interests, and even in-person friendships. Instead of spending hours scrolling, they could spend time reading, learning a new skill, or simply enjoying life offline. Families might reconnect, and local communities could become closer-knit. Lastly, a world without social media could mean fewer distractions. Productivity levels could skyrocket, as people would no longer be constantly interrupted by notifications, messages, or endless scrolling. In this sense, the ban could be a hidden blessing. Social media has played a pivotal role in connecting the world. It allows us to communicate instantly across borders, share cultures, and even rally behind global causes. If social media disappeared, the way we connect globally would undergo a seismic shift. For starters, international relationships, whether personal or professional, would suffer. Today, platforms like Facebook and LinkedIn make it easy to maintain global friendships, build professional networks, or even find job opportunities in other countries. Without these tools, staying connected would become much harder, and we might see a decline in cross-cultural exchange. Movements for social change could also lose momentum. Think of major events like climate change protests or human rights campaigns that gain traction because of social media. Without it, organizing such movements would become far more challenging, potentially weakening global activism. However, we might also see people turning to more traditional methods of staying connected, such as email chains, blogs, or even pen pals. Yes, pen pals. The human spirit always finds a way to adapt, but there's no denying that losing social media would make the world feel less interconnected and more fragmented. For younger generations, who've grown up with social media, a world without it might feel like stepping into the unknown. Teenagers and young adults use these platforms not only to connect with friends, but also as a source of identity and self-expression. Without social media, how would young people share their creativity, showcase their talents, or even stay up to date on trends? Many might feel a sense of loss, but others could find new ways to express themselves, perhaps through art, writing, or face-to-face activities. Education would also be affected. Teachers, schools, and even online learning platforms often use social media to share updates, host discussions, and create a sense of community among students. Its absence could lead to a gap in digital learning resources, forcing educators to rethink how they engage with students outside the classroom. On the brighter side, reduced screen time might help students focus more on their studies and hobbies. It might even encourage them to spend more time outdoors or participate in hands-on activities. While the adjustment period would be tough, the long-term effects on personal growth and learning could be surprisingly positive. If social media were banned worldwide, governments and tech companies would be forced to take action. For governments, the focus would likely shift to creating new regulations to manage digital spaces. They'd need to address challenges like ensuring the free flow of information while maintaining security and privacy. Tech companies, on the other hand, would have to pivot their business models. Giants like Meta, Twitter, and TikTok would face monumental losses. To survive, they might reinvent themselves, focusing on other technologies like virtual reality, artificial intelligence, or blockchain innovations. We could also see the rise of alternative platforms. Without major social media sites, Niche communities might turn to smaller, decentralized networks or forums that provide a more focused and less intrusive way to connect. These alternatives could prioritize user privacy and meaningful interactions over the constant chase for engagement. This shift could redefine the tech landscape entirely, sparking innovations that we can't even imagine today. But would these changes make up for the loss of the social media giants? Only time would tell. So, to sum it up, what would the world look like if social media platforms were banned worldwide? The immediate effects would be chaotic: lost jobs, disrupted communication, and economic turmoil. But in the long run, it might open the door to new ways of connecting, working, and living that we've long forgotten. Ultimately, whether this would be a disaster or a blessing depends on how we adapt. Social media has brought us closer in many ways, but it has also pulled us apart. A world without it might remind us of what truly matters: genuine connections, meaningful conversations, and a life lived in the real world. What do you think? Would a global social media ban help or hurt society? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more thought-provoking content like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.